Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final of Kiambu region. I'm your host, Chris Boru.
And I'm Esperanza Kapanga. The motion today is males should bear the greater burden of contraception, something surrounding gender equality. And the schools that are on stage today will be proposing the motion, Juja Preparatory Senior School, opposing the motion, Loreto Limuru Girls High School. Let us see who will take the day. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Megan Miller stated that birth control pills should actually be made for men because it's common sense to unload a gun than to shoot a bulletproof vest. Kausa Khanna from Juja Senior proposing the motion that states men should bear the greater burden of contraception. What is contraception, you ask? Contraception means the deliberate prevention of impregnation using different contraceptive pills, like the very famous one, the pill, from different brands like Yasmin, the Silest. And let's not forget the devices that are injected on the cervix opening of women, the intrauterines. Sounds scary, doesn't it? Well, who is not familiar to the term condoms? Condoms that is rampantly used by teenagers, men, as a contraceptive. According to Boston Women's Health Book Collective that published an article on May 2017 clearly stating that birth control is not just a woman's issue. By leaving the decision of use of contraceptive pills, the devices, the man not only creates an unfair burden for the woman, but also forfeits his ability to prevent unplanned pregnancies. According to U.S. News that was written by Kristen Folkett on February 26, 2018 at 11:35 a.m., clearly stating the side effects ranging from uncomfortable cramping to irregular patterns of menstruation to regular migraines that lead to heart strokes. Those are the side effects of the woman contraceptive pills. It's fair to say that women not only shoulder the financial and physical burden of birth control, they also saddle with the most of the responsibility in comparison to men who have condoms and vasectomy at their disposal, who exercise little control over their own reproductive health. So yes, men should bear the greater burden of contraceptives.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to present your case.
It is their choice. Why do you want to force them? It is a choice. Melanie Fain from Loreto High School, Limuru, here to strongly oppose the motion that states males should bear the greater burden of contraception. Let us understand the motion. Who are males? The gender that does not give birth. To bear is to be able to accept and deal with an unpleasant situation. A burden is the duty or responsibility that causes worry, difficulty, or need for hard work. And contraception is the practice of preventing a woman from becoming pregnant. In short, birth control. Examples of contraceptives. Females have the following examples. Intrauterine devices, birth control pills, for example, the famous P2. And for males, vasectomy, the gel, condoms, non-surgical methods, and the recently introduced male contraceptive pills. These pills, their effects. According to ScienceHowStuffWork.com, an article by Karen Kirkpatrick states that two birth control pills would do nothing to a man, actually. It is only effective if it's taken in regular form. Now, what is their side effect? A high risk of prostate cancer. And the shocking one, growth of mammary glands. Now, what was the role of the pill? Was it not birth control? Or are we trying to create mutants? Are we trying to create mutants? I don't think so. Please, some things. Continuous use of the contraceptive gel. I still insist. I will speak for the boy child. It is a choice. Don't force them into it. If they want to bear the burden, let them bear it. If they don't, let them not. It is a choice.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes to file a rejoinder.
You know, my opponents really surprised me. No one said we're forcing anyone. We're talking about a sensible suggestion. And with this sensible suggestion, we're giving out facts and statistics as to why you should use our suggestion and implement it. We're not forcing anyone. Nowhere did we say men must, or it is mandatory, nor compulsory. We are merely suggesting. And then they're here talking about one gel, the same means it has multiple problems. I can come here and tell you about birth control problems for women that have major, major problems. But let's look at the positive ones. Men can use condoms. According to WHO, a condom is a sheath-shaped barrier device that may be used during sex to reduce the probability of pregnancy and greatly reduces the risk of STI. World Health Organization said it themselves, it reduces the risk of STIs. According to a report done by the National Institute of Health in Colombia, 2016, stated that consistent use of latex condoms reduces and has reduced the risk of HIV/AIDS by 85% in their own country. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all human beings. So if it worked in Colombia, it can most definitely work in Kenya and the rest of the world. Now let's look at other options. Yes, vasectomy. What is vasectomy? Vasectomy is the injecting or blocking of the vas deferens using bicarbonate solution. According to WHO, this has a success rate of 98%. 98%. Can we stop for a minute and look at that margin of error? A margin of error of 2%. What are the odds? 2%. But then this is opposed to contraceptive methods like pills, which have a much lower success rate. And according to the same WHO, 48%. Can we stop and look at those margins? 48%, 52%, 98%, 2%. Now, you use these pills or whatever else women use for birth control, and then you get unwanted children. What happens? This leads to a string. It's a chain effect of a lot of other problems that affect us, the world. By us, I mean the human race. It affects the global world because people get a kid, you didn't want this kid, you end up throwing this child away. Kids end up being mistreated. Kids end up being sold into slavery. Kids end up being used for things to benefit the people because you do not want this child. But if you go for vasectomy, you know full well you don't want a child. You have a 98% success rate. You will not get these unwanted children. You're not going to end up having cases where you have to mistreat someone so innocent, where you're going to have to throw them out or use them for your own personal benefit because you didn't want them. Ladies and gentlemen, let us open our eyes. Let us see the reality as it is. It is a norm for women to bear the burden of contraception, and it has failed us. It works occasionally, but we do not need occasionally. Look at the cases of children being through. Look at the cases of unwanted childbirth. Look at the cases of unwanted pregnancy. Don't you think these people try to stop this by using contraception? But ladies and gentlemen, if men take this responsibility, if they take this burden, if they do it themselves.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes to file a rejoinder.
We have been accused of not understanding the motion. However, if you're told you should be in class by 6 a.m. and you may be in class by 6 a.m., are you being given a choice when you're told you should be? So, my dear opponents, you have not understood the motion. Should does not give a choice. May gives a choice. So when we say males should bear the greater burden of contraception, we are saying that they do not have a choice. Therefore, Salim Odoni from Loreto High School, Limuru, strongly opposing this motion. Now, you tell me that there are male condoms. I want to tell you there are also female condoms. You say that male condoms are safe, but statistics from PlannedParenthood.com state that condoms are only 85% effective due to the error of man when using them, because man is to error. However, alternative means of contraception that are offered for women are safer. For example, the implant, still from the same source, is 99% effective. The patch is 90% effective. I am talking of 90, 90, 90, 90, more than an A if this were a grading system. However, the condom is only 85% effective, and you say they are safe. Think again. You say that it is not supposed to be a female issue. We have not refused. In fact, we support you to the fullest. According to SDG number 5, it says gender equality. However, by stating that males should bear the greater burden of contraception, we are going backwards. We are infringing on the rights of the boy child, who, as it is, according to statistics, is a endangered species. So we do not refute the fact that it is a female issue. We are saying they should have 50 by 50% of responsibility. So greater is the thing we are refuting. Should is the point we are saying no to. We have no problems. I am a woman. In fact, I should be happy if in future my husband consults with me about the contraception method we are supposed to use. But surely, should he bear the greater burden? What are you trying to say? We will just be infringing on the rights of my husband as a man. So, my opposers, you have told us that you have not understood the motion, but I tell you today, it is you that have not understood the motion. Thank you.
For the questions, the proposers have been asked, why should men be the ones to bear the burden of contraception, yet they're not the ones who carry the pregnancy? The opposers have been asked that statistics prove that women are endangered by use of contraception when they do tubal ligation. So, is it still their advice that women should be the one to bear the burden of contraception? Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
We have been asked why should men use contraceptives, yet they are not going to carry the pregnancy. But I mean, they would get affected by this eventually. I mean, if I am a man and a woman is pregnant, she uses a contraceptive, she will get affected by this. Eventually, he will have brought life to the world. He will become a father of someone. If he becomes a father of someone, then there are responsibilities that he will have to bear. So how will this not affect him? When we talk about men bearing the greater burden on contraceptives, for years, women have taken the greater burden of birth control, but this has not worked effectively because there is overpopulation, which has led to food insecurity and disorganized families, people getting unwanted pregnancies, and we have seen the number of unwanted pregnancies we have. But ladies and gentlemen, according to SDG number 2, which states that end hunger by men taking the greater burden on this, it will reduce the population growth, which will at the end of the day have led to food security. Simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, a study by the World Health Organization that was published on the 28th of August 2017 stated that 48% of women who use contraceptives are at a high risk of being barren for life. So should we just let our women continue being barren, meaning that there will be no more lives? Take a look at Sao Tome and Principe. According to the Ministry of Health in Sao Tome and Principe, cases of reproductive cancers have increased by 51%. This, doctors say, is due to the pills they swallow. So, ladies and gentlemen, should we just encourage the women to use these pills and encourage cancer? So we want to, in a nutshell, bring a cancer-related population? Ladies and gentlemen, I think that if men take the greater burden on population, it will lead to food security, which is basically SDG number 2, which will reduce the number of diseases. Men should take the greater burden on contraceptives. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to answer your question.
Call me a pessimist if you like, but I will not support the motion that states males should bear the greater burden of contraception. Olona, you have seen charcoal embers, burning charcoal embers, and then you step on the embers and you want to blame us for not showing you that you are stepping on charcoal embers. I'm reminding you, you saw the charcoal embers. So now, what am I trying to drive at? The question is cutting of fallopian tubes. Let me phrase it better. Cutting of fallopian tubes. Now, is cutting fallopian tubes the only option, Lorna? Is it? My fellows have just mentioned other ways of contraceptives. We have spoken of pills. We have spoken of many other things that you can go for. Why just go for cutting of fallopian tubes, yet you know that you have a less than 50% chance of survival? On to my first point. The reason why I'm opposing this motion is that there shall be increase in immorality. So let us look at the population of Kenya. According to Worldometers, as of Sunday, 13th May 2018, Kenyan population has risen to 50,782,353, and I bet it has risen by now. So now, of these, increase in morality obviously leads to an increase in number of people with HIV and AIDS. Our source is Harvard, and I'd like to tell you that Kenya has the joint fourth largest HIV epidemic in the world, together with Mozambique and Uganda, which is 1.6 million people in Kenya by 2016. So now, out of these, 36,000 people die of AIDS in the same year. So my question is, making the men to bear the greater burden of contraceptions, pulling them and pushing them into immorality. So I'm urging us all, let us not support it. Let us not support it. Thank you.
Proposition, you have 1 minute to wrap up your case.
So my opponents came up and said the same thing that we said, that HIV and AIDS is rising up, as well as STIs, and people are dying, and we're all sad. I'm sad too. But that's exactly what I'm saying. If men bear this greater burden, this is going to reduce. You have seen, and I will tell you again, vasectomy has a success rate of 98%. And then they asked us, why are we only focusing on cutting of the fallopian tubes? Why only this one? There are many other methods. Yes, all the other methods are followed by adverse effects that affect these people. Let me just remind you of Sao Tome and Principe, where 52% of the people are suffering there because of swallowing these pills. But let us look at the methods for men. Condoms. How many people have you heard of getting sick or getting cancer because of condoms? Let's look at vasectomy. 98% success rate. It speaks for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, let us not be fooled by beautiful talk. Let us not be cheated, ladies and gentlemen. Let us see the truth. Let us believe what the truth is. Males should definitely and undoubtedly bear the greater burden on contraception. Thank
you. Opposition, you have 1 minute to wrap up your case.
Now let me counter before I give my closing statement. But then, contraceptives do not prevent STIs, and even for these condoms, it only reduces them by 85%, as you have told us, from whatever source you got it from. I am here to advocate for the fact that it is not that we dispute this fact. It is actually a good idea to share the burden of birth control. But don't force them into it. As we have been educated on the meaning of should, let it be a choice. We are for SDG number 3, which is good health and well-being. SDG number 5 also, gender equality. We do not refute this points, but then we say, let it be a choice. Don't force them into it. Everything has a positive and a negative, and sometimes when the negative is too big, be wise before you take it. It is a choice. Thank you.
what we have seen across the board is that some students who needed some improvement, I don't know what happened, something happened, I don't know what they ate, but they're now way better. And so we're very happy across the board. And I think we'll only wait for the results. Thank you so much for the good job, well done.
So I'll say that I also was really entertained. I learned a lot, effects of contraceptives on men, on women, percentages and the like. I really liked your mastery of language, all of you, your presentation and style, your passion and conviction. The future can only get brighter. Congratulations.